Do you want to master exposure without delving into manual mode? Not possible, you say. Well, it is possible if you know how to use one button that almost no beginner photographer is using, but every professional photographer uses. Many people think that being a professional photographer means that I shoot in manual all the time, but that's simply not the case. I use manual mode only when I need it. That's about 10% of the time that I use my camera. But I also don't trust my camera to make the correct exposure decisions for me all the time. So what's the solution? Hi, I'm Samantha. I'm a professional wedding, portrait and landscape photographer, and I've spent over a decade teaching students how to master their photography skills. Do you shoot in aperture or shutter priority modes? If so, the exposure compensation button is the most important button to use to get a perfect exposure. This button can be found in various places depending on your camera brand and model. Now let's look at aperture priority mode in a bit more detail and how exposure compensation works. You choose the aperture and the camera adjusts the shutter speed to attempt to find the correct exposure. But what happens when the camera gets it wrong? This is when the exposure compensation button comes into play. It allows you to tell the camera, hey, you're not exposing for this scene correctly, or you're not exposing it how I want you to expose it, or how I want it to look like. So please adjust your calculations to either make it, say, brighter or darker. I use semi-automatic camera modes for about 90% of the time. They're extremely quick and easy to use and give me the creative control that I need. Semi-automatic camera modes are aperture priority mode, shutter priority mode, and program mode. I don't recommend people use program mode, and so I won't discuss it any further here. Semi-automatic modes allow users the creative freedom for an image without being bogged down with trying to correctly expose the image at the same time. It's important to understand that when you're using these modes, you are no longer in control of the overall exposure of the image. You've handed that control back to the camera's light meter. Therefore, if you're using aperture priority and the overall exposure of the scene is too dark, changing the aperture won't change the exposure of the image. The only way to adjust the exposure is to use the exposure compensation dial. In aperture priority mode, I get to control the aperture and I allow the camera then to decide how to correctly expose the scene using the shutter speed. Choosing the aperture for portraiture is really important, but most of the time the shutter speed is not so important. This is because most of my portraits are done with people either stationary or slowly walking. This means my subjects are generally not moving enough to worry about the shutter speed, as long as the shutter speed remains at least 1/100th of a second, which allows me to handhold my camera with, say, an 85 to 135mm lens. Then I can concentrate on framing up my shot and getting genuine expressions from my clients. It really is the ability to control the depth of field that I want the most when taking photos of people. I love being able to get that shallow depth of field to isolate my subjects. Therefore, I use aperture priority for most of my portraiture work and a lot of my travel and some landscape work. If I see a scene and the shutter speed is not particularly important, then I don't want to faff about and waste time in manual mode. In shutter priority mode, I get to choose the shutter speed and the camera chooses the aperture to balance out the exposure. So if I'm shooting some sports, such as motor racing as seen in this image, I may use a panning technique. But in this technique, the depth of field is largely irrelevant, as the technique blurs out the background behind the moving subject. This means I don't need to choose an aperture, but I do need to choose a shutter speed, as the technique relies on the shutter speed to be successful. Therefore, shutter speed priority is perfect for getting a balanced exposure, but still allowing me the creative freedom to choose the shutter speed to get the image that I've envisioned. By having a basic understanding of how a camera light meter works, we can predict when the camera will either under or overexpose certain scenes. In the most basic sense, a camera attempts to collect reflected light across the image and then make an average of all these points across the scene. It then attempts to adjust the shutter speed to make the overall exposure equal to a mid-grey colour. This used to be calculated at an 18% grey, hence our 18% grey cards. That was in the film era, but nowadays it's more like an 11 to 12% grey. This type of metering works well in almost every scenario where there's a variety of tones of light. A camera's light meter doesn't see colour. It sees tones of grey from pure black to pure white. So let's look at this cute image of this ring bearer from one of my weddings this year. I've converted the image to black and white first, so we can see what the camera's light meter is seeing. Now the camera will take an average of all the tones of light throughout this image, and then if I'm using a semi-automatic camera mode, the camera will then adjust the exposure so that the average of all those tones of light is to an approximate 12% grey tone. To really show you how extreme this effect is, here's a photo I've taken in Aperture Priority of a white piece of paper, now a grey piece of paper, and now a black piece of paper. This is what they look like when they're all placed next to one another. Look how they look almost identical. So now we know that the light meter can be fooled. Whilst I could put the camera into manual to overcome this issue, I find it is quicker and easier to simply use the exposure compensation button. The exposure compensation button lets you make a photo brighter or darker than the camera's automatic exposure thinks is correct. It's essentially changing what the 0 point to the light meter. Exposure compensation is usually a button and a dial with the plus/minus symbol. Sony and most Fuji cameras have the dial separate, so you just turn the dial. Nikon cameras have a button with a dial. Canon cameras have 1 to 2 buttons plus a dial to use the exposure compensation feature. Digital SLR cameras show you what you can see with the naked eye through the optical viewfinder, and don't show any exposure changes when looking through this viewfinder, whether you're using exposure compensation or manually changing those controls. So to use exposure compensation, it's a case of taking a couple of images of a scene, checking the LCD screen plus the histogram, and then adjusting the exposure compensation button if you're consistently getting under or overexposed scenes. As you get more experience using your camera, you'll start to know which scenes you'll need to adjust before you even have taken an image. Mirrorless cameras, however, show exposure changes as you make them. Therefore, they make using exposure compensation extremely easy and accurate, particularly when paired with the use of the live histogram. This means I can adjust the overall exposure of the image live through the viewfinder using the exposure compensation dial. Ensure you've set your exposure compensation button to use 1/3 stops. This is usually the default, but you should change it if it hasn't been set to this. This setting can be found in the custom settings menu as shown by the pencil icon. Then into the metering and exposure section, down to B2 EV steps for exposure control. I almost never need to adjust my exposure by more than 1 stop. This is because modern cameras meter more intelligently than previously. Just don't forget to turn it back to 0 once you've finished shooting. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps a new channel like mine. So when we photograph a scene where there is much more light than dark, or vice versa, take this scene. The snow should be white, but the camera only knows that the collective metering should equal 12% grey. So this is how the camera exposes this scene. You need to change the exposure compensation button to change the exposure. In this case, it's almost 2 stops more of light. So I turn the dial to +2, and then this is the result. It seems counterintuitive to turn the dial to the plus exposure in a bright scene, but that's just because the camera doesn't know it should be bright. This also works in the opposite direction. Scenes that are meant to be dark require you to adjust the exposure compensation into the negative values. Let's look at the elements of the exposure triangle to see when we might run into the limits when using semi-automatic modes. Let's first start by getting rid of ISO, as we're going to set our ISO to 100. Now I put my camera in aperture priority mode. The camera alters the shutter speed to balance the exposure. Any exposure compensation will also affect the shutter speed as well. The shutter speeds the camera has to alter are between 1/32,000th of a second all the way through to 30 seconds. That's an incredible amount of changes in stops of light, approximately 20 stops of light, then can make that adjustment in exposure. Therefore, you're highly unlikely to run into limitations of shutter speed when you're using aperture priority. So if I start with an aperture of f/5.6, and the camera then meters the exposure and gives me a shutter speed of 1/25th of a second. If I then add an exposure compensation of +1, the camera will respond by adding a stop of light by changing the shutter speed. The shutter speed will change to 1/60th of a second to allow more light into the sensor. This is the new 0 point. So if I now wanted to move my aperture to f2.8, this is a change of 2 stops brighter. The camera then needs to respond by changing 2 stops in the other direction, resulting in a shutter speed of 1/50th of a second. You can see that no matter how much we change the aperture, the shutter speed never runs into a hard limit. However, when we shoot in shutter priority, the camera will adjust the aperture. The aperture it can adjust depends on the lens that you have attached to the camera and what its maximum aperture is. So for example, I set a shutter speed of 1/125th of a second. The camera meters this at f4. If I then change the exposure compensation to +1, the camera will attempt to change the aperture to f2.8. Now if I have my 24 to 70mm f2.8 lens, I can do this, but now I've reached a hard limit. If I then wanted to adjust my shutter speed to 1/250th of a second, I would run into a problem, because my aperture can't widen any more than f2.8 on this lens. If I was then to go ahead and set the shutter speed to 1/250th of a second, I would end up with an image that is 1 stop underexposed. If, however, I've got auto ISO engaged, then the ISO might double to allow an extra stop of light to ensure the camera correctly exposes the image. This depends on how I've set up the auto ISO on my camera. We haven't discussed the use of auto ISO or using exposure compensation in manual mode. I'll leave those topics for another video. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for much more content to come. So if you haven't been shooting in aperture priority mode, there is no better day than today to start that process. It's the most useful and the best of all the semi-automatic camera modes to learn, and to learn first. So get out there and start shooting. Until I see you next time.